Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, students. We are getting into the topic of what we left yesterday. So time of supply and value of supply. These two are related topics because once you know the time, then the value on which GST has to be paid is to be seen. So we will discuss on value of supply. Yesterday we had discussed on time of supply. So we'll now discuss on value of supply. Time of supply was very easy, like a cakewalk it was to understand the topic so well. Everybody answered the multiple choice questions, and I'm really thankful to people who have attended yesterday on a Sunday evening and you could make to the class in spite of it being a Sunday. Really doesn't matter if it's Sunday or Monday, every day is a study day for CA students. So always study well, make the maximum use of these holidays and take good care of yourself. So if people who have gone through this and if you have any questions on time of supply, you can ask before I get into the value of supply or before I get into the technical aspects. I will start with the introduction of value of supply. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please ask. Very few students joining today. I don't know if they have missed out or I'm not able to get chats from everyone. Very few chats today. Very few students. I'm surprised that yesterday there were more students than today. What's special? What was special yesterday that so many attended? Because Sunday is a good day to attend, but today very few students. No worries. We'll just wait for a few more students to join. But good response coming in now. Good evenings, Akshay. Good evening, Ayush, Sushil Kumar, Madhuri, Menaka. Good evening, Somesh. Good evening, Isha, Karthik, Raghavan, Pooja. Good evening, everyone. So this is also a very small topic, which is called as value of supply. And we will understand this very much on what is the value of supply and how it should be treated. So basically, before getting into the topic, what is value of supply under GST? The value of supply for a transaction is the price or consideration paid by the customer to the supplier. So when I buy something from the supplier, I pay him something. Correct? That is the value for the supply. So use that value and pay GST on that. But there could be some additions, there could be some reductions, then there could be parties who are not related parties, wherein the price, if I say transaction value, will the government agree that yes, this is the transaction value? They will normally agree because it is a self-assessment mode. Okay, so this is a self-assessment mode wherein I will decide what is the price and I will say this is the price on which I'm charging GST. But for whatever reasons, if this price is not the correct price, then the government can ask for additional justification saying that why you are charging a lower price. Why are you charging a higher price? Why I will charge a lower price? Because I want to pay less GST. So if there's a transaction wherein the normal price I'm selling at 1 lakh rupees and to a person known to me, I'm selling at 10,000 rupees. So government will get less revenue now. So that's why they want to ensure that whatever is the price on which it is being charged, it is charged correctly. So that's why these valuation rules are there, valuation provisions are there, which will tell what should be the value you should charge when it is a related party transaction. Like how in income tax, we have a transfer pricing kind of a thing or a arm's length transaction. That transaction, same thing will apply here also, saying that when you are a related party transaction, what should be your price? Can it be influential price or what should be the price? That is what this valuation chapter will tell us. Okay. Okay. The value of supply for a transaction is what? The value for supply for a transaction is the price or consideration which is paid by the customer to the supplier. It includes, what all does it include? It includes extra charges like shipping and handling and other things, but it does not include GST. So the value is the value. It excludes the GST. On the value, we will charge GST, but GST is not to be included. Some actions that aren't sales, like there are some actions which are not sales. What could be those? Like we have stock transfers between two states. or stock transfer between a single state with two registration numbers are still considered as taxable transactions in GST, right? So in those cases, the value of supply is the open market value. It is the open market value, or the amount of goods are expected to sell for. Open market value, what is open market value? The price at which I would sell to a non-related party. When I do a stock transfer, it means I'm doing with my related party, wherein there are two called as distinct persons. When I do a transaction with two distinct persons, there will be a stock transfer. Now, this stock transfer, I may give some value, but GST says that you have to transact at open market value. Okay. Now, what is the value of, why is value of supply important at all? Because GST is to be applied on a transaction value, which will depend on the value of those goods and services sold or transferred. Buyers can pay, now buyer can pay for the transaction with a monetary consideration by giving the seller cash or doing a bank payment or electronic transfer, but they can also pay by non-monetary consideration. So when I go and buy something, I can pay in money, or I'll pay you something else other than money. Suppose like if I have to pay something and I don't have sufficient money, I will tell I'll do a bank transfer. That is also treated as transaction in money. Bank, credit card, UPI, cash, all these are transactions in money. But if I say, no, I have my something to give to you, then that's a non-monetary consideration. Suppose I buy a laptop and I say I'll not pay the money for it, but I will give my old printer to you. So that's a non-monetary consideration. So that's why valuation becomes important when a transaction is taken place. It can be for both monetary consideration and non-monetary consideration. So it could include both. So non-monetary consideration also has that value. So that has to be considered as a consideration. Okay. So non-monetary consideration could be of two types: monetary consideration and non-monetary consideration. Now, finally, there could be cases where they can pay for transaction partly in cash and partly in kind in case of exchange transactions. Hence, it will be really important to accurately calculate the value of supply. Clear? Okay. So I'll just tell you on what is basically value. Before that, as I said, we'll just go with some questions. I have a doubt in partly paid amount of goods and services. Please tell me, Menan, Rafiq bhai, what is your question on partly paid amount of goods and services? Karthik, your question is, can you explain the meaning of before or at the time of supply? I am unable to understand what is time of supply in this condition in 31.7. 31.7. So specifically, we'll go to 31.7, or you have any other doubt? So time of supply in case of 31.7. 31.7 says, notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1, where the goods being sent or taken on approval for sale or return basis. Okay. In case of sale or return are removed from before the supply takes place, the invoice shall be issued before or at the time of supply or 6 months from the date of removal, whichever is earlier. So we had taken this example, no, wherein I buy some goods and I take it to my home and get it approved at home, saying that whether they like it or no. If they like it, then we buy it. If we don't like it, we don't buy it. So that is what is sale on approval basis, right? We have explained this specifically what happens in case of sale on approval or return basis. So if I like it, I buy it. Otherwise, I will return it. Fine. If I return it, there is no sale. But the sale, when it's been sold, it should be sold on approval basis, right? When they sell it, then invoice will not be issued because the transaction is, it is sold on a approval or return basis. So how will the goods move? The goods will move through a delivery challan. So delivery challan also is a document which permits you to move the goods. So I will issue a delivery challan, move the goods, and once the customer approves it, I will raise the invoice. Now, how much time does the customer have to approve it? He has a time to approve it within a period of 6 months. If he doesn't approve within 6 months, at the end of 6th month from the date of removal of the goods, I have to raise an invoice. That is what is section 31.7 saying. What is the time of supply in such cases? Okay, clear, Karthik? Main and Rafiq Bhai, your question is, if I pay advance amount 2000 on 1st July and remaining I paid on 20th June, then which date to consider? So in this case, if it's a supply of service, okay, then advance or payment of advance or raising invoice, whichever is earlier. So in your example, 1st July you have paid advance and 1st July is advance and remaining paid on 20th July. Okay, so if 1st July, then to the extent of 2000 rupees which you have paid on 1st July, that will be treated as supply on 1st July, and 20th July, whatever is the balance amount, that will be treated as supply for that date. Okay. Okay. So Raghavan, your question, Somesh, your question is, does it mean that the supplier can't charge price at its value up to MRP to customer at its will? He can charge it up to the MRP. So when you buy some goods, MRP is the maximum price, but if you get some discount, you can get it at a discounted price also. That means that's the transaction value. So MRP is the transaction value generally. Now, what is the MRP regulations coming from? MRP regulations are not coming from GST. They are coming from a different law called Legal Metrology Act. In the Legal Metrology Act, it is specified that some products should have a MRP, maximum retail price. Because of that, we have to fix the maximum retail price on some products, but not because of GST. So that's the upper limit, fine. But if you want to sell at a lower price, also you can sell. Suppose there is a product which is at 100 rupees is the MRP. Now, if I want to buy it at 90 and the seller also accepts it, then we can sell it at 90 rupees. From that 90 is inclusive of GST. So he will gross it up and pay the GST to the government. But the transaction value is the price at which I have bought from him. So when I bought it at 90 inclusive of GST, 90 gross up, say it is 85 rupees. So 85 is the transaction value. Clear? Now, GST, we know, is levied under Section 9. Okay, levy provision is Section 9. And levy provision says that GST shall be levied on the value which is determined under section and at specified rates. Now, it says that value shall be what is determined under Section 15. That is what we are discussing. Section 15 we are discussing at specified rates. Now, duty or taxes can be ad valorem or specific duty levy. Means there could be two types of duties which could be levied. It could be on the value. On value, some percentage is charged, that is called as ad valorem. Or it could be specific duty saying that on 1 kg of steel, you pay me 100 rupees. Whatever value you sell, doesn't matter. This generally happens in case of cigarettes. Cigarettes, what value you sell, excise duty on cigarettes and tobacco, not GST. GST is still on value, but excise duty on cigarettes was based on the length of the cigarettes. So it was of 15 mm, then the rate was different. If it was 20 mm, the rate was different. So based on the length of cigarettes, excise duty was charged. That was called as specific duty. But in GST, there is no specific duty. Now, these two are the methods on which any taxes can be charged. GST is charged on ad valorem basis itself. Okay, GST is charged on ad valorem, which is on the value of the goods. GST is charged on value of the goods, which is ad valorem. Okay. Now, before understanding the further observations or further provisions of valuation, we'll understand the important definitions. Okay. First definition is of an agent. Who is an agent? Agent is defined as a factor or a broker or a commission agent, arhatya, a del credar agent, a auctioneer, or a mercantile agent. How do you remember this? A, B, C, D, F, M. A for arhatya. Okay, P for broker, C for commission agent, D for del credar agent, okay, and F for factor or M for mercantile agent. So A, B, C, D, F, M, these are the agents. Agent could be called by any of these names. Aratia, commission agent, all of these do the same thing. There are different names given in different territories. We use different names. Aratia is a person who transacts between a seller and the buyer. Commission agent also does that. Auctioneer is a little different because auctioneer is a person who auctions, but he sells the goods finally in the name of the principal. Principal who told him to auction, he will auction. Everybody in this are a third party who will connect the seller and the buyer, right? That's why they are called agent, because they connect the seller and the buyer. Okay, so agent is all of these persons who carries on business of supply of goods or services on behalf of another. On behalf of another means on behalf of the principal. If I have to sell goods, I will appoint an agent or a broker and I will tell, please sell these goods on my behalf. So he will sell goods on my behalf. Now this agent could be called any of these names, or I can tell you auction these products on my behalf. So it's an auctioneer. So any of these. Okay, so agent could be any of these people who carries on business of supply of goods or services. Who are they? They are not any agent who are selling or something, but for the purpose of GST, who carries on business of supply of goods or services on my behalf are an agent. Ad valorem, what is the meaning of ad valorem? Means value. When the tax is charged on the value, it's called as ad valorem. Here, agent definition we understood. Now we'll understand the definition of consideration. We have already seen this, but it will also be relevant here. Consideration means payment in money or otherwise for the supply. Any payment in money or otherwise for the supply, or monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply. When there is a monetary consideration, then whatever money is received, that is consideration. So payment in money or otherwise for the supply means otherwise means other than money, right? When it is otherwise, then the monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply. Okay, which means when I make a payment in money, whatever money I agree to pay, either pay immediately or pay later, that's fine. Payment in money or payment otherwise, which means other than money, which means non-monetary consideration. So consideration could be monetary consideration or non-monetary consideration. If it is non-monetary consideration, then how is consideration treated? The monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply, which I tell that I will do some positive thing, that you sell to me a laptop, I will give you a printer. That is an monetary value of the act. What act I'm doing? I'm giving him something in return. For that, monetary value has to be decided. That is the first part, which is monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply, which means you sell me something, instead of paying you money, I will not do something. Forbearance for the supply, which means stopping something. Like we see this in a contract of a sales contract wherein an agent is appointed now, or a person is appointed and he is restricted from selling or entering into a contract with anyone, wherein an exclusive contract is given. Say, I am supplier of an Apple phone. Now, this Apple company will tell me, I'll pay you additional consideration. You should not be an agent of any other phone company. You should sell only my products. Okay, so they're forbearing me from doing any other supply. So that is the monetary value for this is also consideration. So the direct consideration and any other consideration which I get for a positive act or forbearance is also part of consideration, which is paid by the recipient or any other person. Okay, which is paid by the recipient. Who is the recipient? Who receives the goods? Now, either the recipient can pay or anybody else can pay, right? Like we taken the example of school. A school, who's the recipient? The student is the recipient, but payment is made by whom? Payment is made by the parents. So the parents will be treated as recipients here, right? So consideration means payment in money or otherwise for the supply, or monetary value of any act or forbearance for the supply paid by the recipient or any other person, and it excludes subsidy given by central government and state government. Please note this. Okay, generally any subsidy what we receive is liable because I've sold to somebody, but consideration is coming from somebody else. So by the recipient or any other person covers there, wherein the consideration could be paid by the recipient or any other person. But specific exclusion is there, which says it excludes subsidy given by central government and state government only. Given by any other government entity, government enterprise, public, anybody by the public, by the private companies, private limited or NGO is to be considered as a consideration. Only subsidy given by central government and state government is to be excluded from calculating the value of consideration, right? Then what else it includes? Deposit to be considered as payment, wherein I make a deposit. What's the intention of deposit? I give it and I will get it back after a period of time. Okay, that's the deposit कि मैं देता हूँ किसी को. I'll explain in Hindi at the end, but just listen to me in English now. Deposit, when I give a deposit, the intention is not that they will use it for my sale transactions. They will keep it as a safety, as a safe deposit, and they will return to me later on point of time. Okay, so deposit is not a consideration, but deposit to be considered as payment. When I say that no, I will not make payment to you, whatever deposit I've said, you adjust with the sale what you have made to me. Or where the seller says, no, you're not making payment to me. Whatever is your deposit, why did I take a deposit? For my safety. Now you're not paying money to me. I will use that deposit to offset the sale transaction. In that case, deposit to be considered as payment only when the supplier applies such deposit as a consideration for the said supply. Not in normal cases. When I give money, when I get some money from somebody as deposit, should I pay GST on that? No, because it's a deposit. But later on, when I consider the deposit as apply the deposit for the goods what I've sold, then it has to be considered as a consideration, not otherwise. Clear on consideration? Good evening, Mageshwaran and Sneha Gupta, and so many people have joined late. Okay, so what is the meaning of arhatya? Arhatya is also an agent. Arhatya are two types of arhatya. One is pakka arhatya and kacha arhatya. So he's also an agent. Okay. So we understood what is the meaning of consideration. Whatever we get in money is consideration. Whatever we get in non-monetary form, that is also consideration. But if it is related to this transaction, so that's where the concept of quid pro quo comes in, wherein I give something in expectation or in return of something, right? I expect something back. That's a quid pro quo transaction, wherein I give something and I get return. If there is a quid pro quo, then there is a consideration. Now that quid pro quo could be in money or in non-monetary form also, right? Let's take that example of donation again. When I give donation, I don't expect anything. So there is no quid pro quo. But if I give a donation with the expectation and a condition that the receiving entity has to do something for me, then there is a quid pro quo. Then the donation is also a consideration for the return what I get from the NGO. Okay, तो consideration क्या हो गया? जब मैं कुछ पैसे देता हूँ किसी चीज को खरीदने के लिए, वो consideration हो गया. Without पैसे, if अगर मैं कुछ चीज देता हूँ, इट कुड बी कि मैं कुछ खरीदता हूं और उसके अगेंस्ट मैं पैसे नहीं देता हूं, मैं बोलता हूं कि मैं कुछ और चीज दूंगा आपको और कुछ सर्विस दूंगा, वो भी कंसिडरेशन हो जाता है. आप इसको हटा नहीं सकते हो कि नहीं हमने कुछ पैसे नहीं दिया तो इसके ऊपर टैक्स नहीं लगेगा. आप पैसे देते हो तो टैक्स लगेगा, पैसे नहीं देते हो और उसके रिटर्न में कुछ और चीज देते हो तब भी उसको कंसिडरेशन ही कहेंगे. ठीक है, और कंसिडरेशन कौन दे सकता है? रिसिपिएंट दे सकता है या और कोई बंदा दे सकता है ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ रिसिपिएंट. बट क्या एक्सक्लूडेड है इसमें? डिपॉजिट्स एक्सक्लूडेड है और सब्सिडी एक्सक्लूडेड है. कौन सी सब्सिडी? सिर्फ सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट और स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की सब्सिडी कंसिडरेशन नहीं कही जाएगी और डिपॉजिट भी कंसिडरेशन नहीं कहा जाएगा. लेकिन डिपॉजिट, अगर सप्लायर डिपॉजिट को सेल के अगेंस्ट ऑफसेट कर देता है कि मैंने सेल किया है और आप पैसे मत दो, आपके डिपॉजिट के साथ यूटिलाइज कर देता हूं, तब डिपॉजिट कंसिडरेशन बन जाएगा, वरना डिपॉजिट जनरली कंसिडरेशन नहीं की. ठीक है. Sir, will the syllabus be completed this month? No, it will be completed till next month, August also. I will come after the other topics are completed. For July, my schedule will be only this. Today will be the last session for the month of July. After this, there will be other faculty who will take you through other provisions of the GST. He will take up mostly by August, he'll complete it. Once he completes by August, on the 8th of August, I will come back and take session on problem solving, wherein we'll take full-fledged problems, wherein all the topics will be covered. Like the other day, we had taken topics on exemption that was specific to exemption topic. So we will not repeat those questions. We'll take up other questions wherein all the topics of the GST are covered so that exhaustive problems can be solved. Okay, so we'll catch up for 3 days on your problem solving session. So if deposit clear, Pooja and everybody. So again, I'm reiterating, this will be the last session for me on taking the technical sessions. I will get back to you in the month of August for 3 days. So again, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Sunday, of course, like yesterday, I will see a lot of participation. And if you miss that out, then you'll be missing out on how to have a practical application of the topic. So don't miss on that. We'll see you on the 3 days of August for problem solving session. If deposit is considered as consideration, then GST on deposit is levied. Correct. If deposit is considered as consideration, then GST is levied on that. Very right. But GST will be levied on the sale value. Suppose I sell goods of 10,000, GST will be levied on the 10,000. Now, if I have a deposit of 10,000, 10,000 will be treated as receipt and balance has to be collected from the customer. Clear, Ankur? Can deposit be considered as advance? No, deposit cannot be considered as an advance because advance is against sale, but deposit is not against sale. So deposit is a deposit wherein I give something and keep it over there and I don't want something in return. So deposit के case में भी quid pro quo नहीं है because I give a deposit and not with the expectation that I will get goods out of it. Right? When I give something in advance I give so that I should get the goods against it. So advance, there is a quid pro quo, but deposit, there is no quid pro quo. But if I mature the deposit, then it becomes considered as an advance. So if deposit is received for a service, will it be considered for checking of time of supply received payment? No, Karthik. So same question what Somesh also asked. Deposit will not be treated as receipt of money in advance. It is separate. So deposit will not be considered. Sneha Gupta, you'll miss our lecture. Good. Please ensure that the other lecturers also you will give the same amount of participation and ask the same amount of questions, have same interaction so that your class will become more interactive and more fruitful. Clear on consideration? Now let's move on the definition of money. Okay, what is money? Money is the Indian legal tender or a foreign currency, a check, a promissory note, or bill of exchange. Basically, other than money, what you can get for which you can exchange in money, all of that is money. Specifically, as I said, Indian legal tender, that is all the cash and the coins. Okay, notes and coins are Indian legal tender. Foreign currency also, because that is also a money for you. You get in Indian currency or foreign currency, you can still convert the foreign currency to Indian currency. So foreign currency is also considered as money. A check, promissory note, a bill of exchange, letter of credit, draft could be a demand draft, a pay order, traveler's check, money order, postal or electronic remittance, or any other instrument recognized by RBI. Any other instrument which is recognized by RBI will be treated as money. Okay, when used as a consideration to settle an obligation or exchange with Indian legal tender of another denomination. Anything which can be exchanged with Indian legal tender is treated as money. Excludes what? It excludes currency held for its numismatic value. Numismatic value matlab which has relevance because of its characteristics or some numbers on it. Like a 10 rupee note which has some number is not sold as money, but it's sold because it carries some value. So those monies or those coins, old coins, even though they're not relevant, they have some value today. So even though they are currency, but they are not recognized as currency, but they are actually currency, but they're held for its numismatic value. That's why they are excluded from definition of money because they have their own independent value more than what is mentioned there. Correct? That's why they are excluded from the definition of money. Clear? Kusumlata, which page I had opened? I had opened page for that question on 35.7, right? 31.7. That I had opened page number 5.10. Okay. So in security deposit, a deposit or advance. Security deposit is also a deposit itself. It's not an advance. Security deposit or any kind of deposit, it's a deposit itself. Letter of credit means what? Letter of credit means a banker gives a letter of credit when I do export transactions. When I do export transactions, the banker gives a letter of credit and I get it redeemed on fulfilling of certain conditions. So that is a letter of credit. Like silver or gold coins, currency of old times, yes, those are currencies held for its numismatic value. Traveler's check means what? When I travel outside India, I don't have to carry foreign currency. The banker gives me a traveler's check. It is like a foreign credit card, you could say, wherein I can use it for any kind of transaction outside India. So that is also treated as money. So all of this is money. Now anything you get is, this is the money, and this is called as consideration. Related persons. Related persons means who are treated as related persons. They are persons or officers of one another's business. When one person is an officers or directors of one another's business. So a common director, a common officer of two businesses is related person. Why related person is important will come, because valuation with a related person is different. Valuation with an unrelated person is different. So even if you have slightest relationship under this, then your valuation will be different. So related persons, that's why the definition is very, very important. Who are related persons? Related persons are such persons are officers or directors of one another's business. Second, such persons are legally recognized partners in business. Okay. Third is such persons are employer and employee of the company. An employer and employee are treated as related persons only. Then any person directly or indirectly owns, controls, or holds 25% or more of the voting stock or shares of the both of them. So it could be voting stock. It means there could be other than shares. If I give a preference shares with voting rights, then they're treated as voting stock. Otherwise, preference shares don't have voting rights. So that's why they're not treated as voting stock. But if they give a preference share with a voting right, then they are treated as voting stock. Stock can be shares, debentures, anything. So that's why they've used any instrument which you issue, which gives the right to vote, is treated as equivalent to a share. So if that you have that right, then you are equivalent to a shareholder. So if you hold more than directly or indirectly, more than 25% of more, then you are a related person. Then one of them directly or indirectly controls the another. There are two people. One of them controls the other directly or indirectly, which means a holding company who is directly or indirectly controlling the subsidiary company, because it is covered under two clauses. It owns more than 25% and it also controls. So another example of one of them directly or indirectly control is when I take a loan from a bank. Okay, I'm taking loan. He's not holding any shareholding in my company, correct? But he will tell that I will nominate one director on the board, because I don't want my money to get lapsed. Generally, it happens in public companies and all. When they give a loan to a public company, they will tell that banker will have a director on behalf of the bank. So he will directly or indirectly control. He will have an influence. I will have a decision to make in the board. That's why one of them directly and indirectly controls the another, which means this banker directly and indirectly controls. That is also treated as a related person. Both of them, there are two peoples, and both of them directly or indirectly are controlled by a third party, wherein there are two firms and it is controlled by one person. That is also treated as a related party. Then together they directly or indirectly control a third person. Then they are members of the same family. Together they directly or indirectly control a third person. Saying we both will partner together and make an investment in this company. So both together have made it. So together they directly or indirectly control a third person, or they are members of the same family. Members of the same family are also treated as related person. Father, brother, sister, all of that are related members of the same family. So they will be treated as related persons. Then eighth category is one of them is a sole agent or sole distributor or sole concessionaire of the another. If a just a agent, then it's not a related person. If he's the sole agent, only he's the agent, nobody else I can sell it. Nobody can become an agent other than him. Okay, then that is called as a sole agent or a sole distributor. I will distribute only through this person and nobody else can become a distributor. So that's an example of a sole distributor. So sole agent, sole distributor, or a sole concessionaire of the principal, then these two people are related persons. A normal agent is not related person, but if it's a sole agent, then he becomes a related person. Voting, which is right, sir? Voting is correct. Written voting only, right? Yeah. Voting rights is correct. Okay, this is on related persons. Now we'll get into valuation, when we should do valuation and what is the valuation rules. Section 15 basically says what is the value of taxable supply. First is section 15.1. Very nicely it says transaction value is the value which has to be considered. That is, what is a transaction value? The GST has a lot of importance on the transaction value, which means transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for the supply. What is the price I have to pay for this transaction, or what I have paid now and what I have to pay later on? Because if I buy one product, what I have to pay for this? Okay, that is the transaction value. Now I can agree to pay it later on. Fine. Wherein I have agreed to pay later on, which means price actually paid or payable for this supply is the transaction value. Okay, transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for the supply. Now there are some conditions, but before going to the conditions, let's take up some examples. I go to a shopkeeper, I buy a laptop for 50,000 rupees. Now another person goes, he buys the same laptop, okay, and same specifications, he gets it at 48,000 rupees. Now in these two scenarios, what do you think is the transaction value for me and what is the transaction value for him? Because you have to decide on what value GST has to be paid. I've told GST is on transaction value. Now this transaction, what I made is at 50, party B is gone, he's made a transaction at 48,000. So which value is correct? Is my value correct or his value is correct? I'm waiting for your answers. So Madhuri is saying that 50,000 is the correct price because I went and bought it 50,000. He bought it 48,000. But for both, transaction value is 50,000. Any other responses? Sushil Kumar, what is your question in page number 5.5? Ayush is saying both values are correct. Isha is saying 48,000 is the transaction value. Menon Rafiq Bhai is saying 50,000 is the value. Sushila Devi and Ayush Agarwal are saying both the values are correct. Some people are saying 48,000. Repeat the question. Pooja, I'm saying I went to a shop, I bought a laptop for 50,000. My friend went, he bought the same laptop for 48,000. So what is the transaction value? Kusumlata, how can price bid differ if there is something discount? No, there is not a discount. This is the value what he sold at. I went, he sold me at 50,000. My other person went, he sold it, same laptop, same configuration, he sold it at 48,000 rupees. How? It's just the negotiation skill. I didn't negotiate correctly, so he gave me at 50,000. And other person who went, he negotiated better, he gave him at 48,000. Both the values are correct for each separate transaction. Karthik says so. Both will be considered. So what's the reason for 2,000 deduction, sir? If any discount, then 50,000 will be the value. No discount, no. He's just sold it at 48 to him, 50 to me. That's all I'm saying. Both are correct. Sneha Gupta, Bharat M is saying 48,000. Sir, some words I think written as wrongly, like printing mistake in page 5. No, nothing is printing mistake 5.59 now. Sushil, it's correct. I'm seeing the table and things, it is correct. Please check once again on the website whether your study material has some printing error, but it is correct there in my material at least. Great. So everybody, most of you are saying both the transactions are correct, both the transactions are, some are confused at 50,000 or 48,000. But let us understand transaction value means the value. So GST is charged on the transaction value. At what transaction he sells to me, or what transaction value the seller sells. Now for me, he sold to at 50,000 and to another person he sold at 48,000. So to me, what he sold, that is the transaction value. For him, what he sold, that is the transaction value. Now, can we universalize this or say that it has to be sold at this value? No, it cannot be said so. This is business wherein due to various negotiation skills, he might sell at a higher price to me, and at a better negotiation of the customer, he could have sold at a lower price to him, right? So if that be the case, when he's selling to the customer at lower price, still that is the transaction value for that transaction. So each transaction is separate. One transaction cannot be considered compared with another transaction, wherein I would have agreed that I will buy only laptop. He would have agreed, no, I'll buy more laptops from you if you give me a discount or if you give me at a lower price. So 48,000 he sold to him with the anticipation that he will get something, but he's agreed that this is the transaction value. It's an independent transaction. Whatever hopes he's given, it is not related to it. It's only a oral commitment, but he may buy or he may not buy. It doesn't matter. He sold this at 48,000 rupees and he charged GST on it. So both the values are correct. So transaction value for my purchase is 50,000. Transaction value for his purchase is 48,000. Fine. So transaction value is the price actually paid or payable for supply. Simple. Now, when do we apply this transaction value? There are conditions. When the parties, not related parties, when I buy from a shopkeeper, I'm not related to him because I'm not falling in any of these definition of related parties. Okay. I'm neither a family member or they're not members of the same family. So first condition is I should not be related to the seller. And price should be the sole consideration. In my case, price was a sales consideration. In his case also, price was the sole consideration. Had in his case, it has been, no, I will give you my old keyboard, right? I will give you my old keyboard, so give me a discount. Then in that case, price is not the sole consideration because apart from price, he's giving something else. But in my example, it was purely price. There was no anything other consideration which was involved. So price was the sole consideration, that's 50 and 48. Now take that example where price is not the sole consideration. Then what happens? Then what will be the transaction value? Will come to 0.152. Okay, because if 15.1 says that whatever is the price which is the sole consideration, that will be treated as the transaction value. Okay. If price is not the sole consideration, then what do? We'll come to valuation rules to understand that. Okay. First is but just to make you satisfied with that answer, that if he's selling an old keyboard, then the price will be what is the value of that old keyboard which is agreed at plus the value. So 48,000 plus say 1,000 is the value of the old keyboard which is agreed at, then 49,000 will be the transaction value. 48,000 monetary consideration plus non-monetary consideration के लिए जो price है that has to be included. Say if it is 1,000, then the value of the transaction is 48 plus 1,000, 49,000. ठीक है? But condition ये होना चाहिए कि दोनों parties related नहीं होना चाहिए और price should be the sole consideration. तब आप transaction value को ले सकते हो. अगर related party हो गया है या फिर price sole consideration नहीं है, दोनों में एक condition भी satisfy नहीं हुआ, तो फिर आप transaction value नहीं ले सकते. ठीक है. और अगर ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू में हम अग्री करते हैं तो ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू में क्या क्या इंक्लूड करना है? व्हाट ऑल वी हैव टू इंक्लूड इन ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू? वी हैव टू इंक्लूड ड्यूटीज एंड टैक्सेस अदर देन जीएसटी इफ इट इज चार्ज सेपरेटली. ओके, ड्यूटीज और टैक्सेस कुछ भी इंक्लूड करता हूं मैं, देन दैट हैज टू बी इंक्लूडेड. सपोज व्हेन टेक अ एग्जांपल ऑफ रेंटल, मैं रेंट चार्ज करता हूं एंड आई से दैट व्हाटएवर टैक्सेस आई पे आई विल रिकवर फ्रॉम यू. व्हाट टैक्सेस आई पे? म्युनिसिपल टैक्सेस. अभी म्युनिसिपल टैक्सेस मेरे को नहीं भरना है. आई एंटर इनटू अग्रीमेंट, रेंट अग्रीमेंट में बोलता हूं दैट जनरली इट इज द लैंडलॉर्ड हु पेज इट, बट से इन अ इंस्टेंस दैट इट इज मेंशन इन द अग्रीमेंट दैट द म्युनिसिपल टैक्सेस हैज टू बी पेड बाय द टेनेंट. तो फिर मैं रेंट इनवॉइस के साथ ये भी इंक्लूड करूंगा, देन दैट टैक्सेस आल्सो हैज टू बी इंक्लूडेड. Okay, duties and taxes other than GST if it is charged separately has to be included. Then interest, late fees, penalty on delayed consideration. ठीक है. We know that time of supply में हमने क्या कहा? Interest, late fees और penalty के लिए time of supply अलग है, wherein on actual receipt basis GST has to be paid, but वो भी transaction value में include हो गया है. So when I raise an invoice, that is a transaction value. बाद में जो भी interest for delay charge करता हूँ उसके लिए मैं अलग से डेबिट नोट रेज करूंगा, बट दैट इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू इटसेल्फ. ठीक है. थर्ड इज, तो आपको क्वेश्चन आ सकता है कि सर ये तो इनवॉइस में इंक्लूडेड नहीं है. मैंने कहा कि ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू हैज टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन द वन इनवॉइस इटसेल्फ. ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू हो गया है, आप एक इनवॉइस में रेज करो या 10 इनवॉइस में रेज करो चलेगा, लेकिन आपको उसके ऊपर वैल्यूएशन सब इंक्लूसिव करना है. तो on a supply of goods, if there is a delay and I charge interest, that interest can be charged through a debit note permitted. Okay. Then what else is included? Payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay. Okay. Any payment incurred by the recipient for which supplier is liable to pay, has to be included in the transaction value. ठीक है. सो एनीथिंग विच आई से आई विल बाई एंड गिव इट टू यू, यू यूज दिस मटेरियल, कि तुम जो मटेरियल यूज करोगे मुझे पता नहीं है, आई विल बाई द मटेरियल एंड गिव इट टू यू. अगर मैं नहीं परचेज करता देन यू वुड हैव बॉट इट फ्रॉम मार्केट. सो एनीथिंग विच द रिसिपिएंट does on behalf of the supplier for which supplier is liable to pay has to be included in the transaction value. Obviously, no, because if I buy a good computer and I say software I will give you install, agar I would not have bought, he would have bought it, then his price would have increased definitely because he will include the cost of software. Now I'm saying you have to buy software which I will use it, which I recommend. So I will buy the software and give it to you and you have to pay me. So price mein adjustment kar lunga, but the value of this software has to be included in the transaction value. Okay. So these are the cases where I go for transaction value, usme kya kya inclusion karna hai. Then fourth point is price linked subsidy other than given by the government. So price linked subsidy, if something is given, that has to be added. Okay, any subsidy given which is linked to the pricing of the product. General subsidy हो गया कि बस आप ले लो, इसको कुछ के लिए किसी के लिए यूज करो, that is not to be included. Specifically they have mentioned price linked subsidy, only that has to be included. Then incidental expenses charged by the supplier at the time of supply or before delivery. Okay, incidental expenses could be what? Postage, courier, handling, shipping charges, anything which is charged by the supplier at the time of supply or before delivery has to be included. Okay. So this is 15.1 and 15.2. Then what all deductions is possible? Any discount before or at the time of supply. So any deductions given at the time of supply. Okay, any discount given before or at the time of supply. मतलब sales invoice raise करने से पहले जो भी discount में agree करता हूँ, that is to be deducted. So any discount given before or at the time of supply, जब मैं invoice में 60,000 लिखता हूँ और 5,000 rupees discount देता हूँ, then that 5,000 is permitted as a discount. So 55,000 is a value. Like few people were asking, sir, is that 2,000 rupees discount? Yes, if that is discount, then what? Still, you can reduce it because at the time of supply deduction, discount given before or at the time of supply is a permitted deduction. So that 2,000 discount, if I say I bought for 50,000, other person is bought at 50 less discount of 2,000, then that 2,000 is permitted as a deduction. Okay? Then that is deductible from the value. Or any other discount given after supply. There could be two types of discounts. Discounts given at the time of supply or discount given after the time of supply. Before the time of supply is deductible from the value. After discount, any discount given after supply, in that case, what will happen? Which is agreed at before the time of supply. If I've agreed at the time of supply that I will give you some discount, then it is deductible if it is linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient. So two conditions has to be satisfied there. Okay, what are those two conditions? That it is deductible if it is agreed at or before time of supply. It is deductible if it is linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient. Okay, this is the condition if it is linked to the invoice. मतलब बाद में मैं दे सकता हूँ, but I have to enter at the time of supply saying that we are agreeing that I will give you a discount. But how much discount I don't know today, क्योंकि तुम्हारे जितना परचेज करोगे उतना मैं डिस्काउंट दूंगा. अगर तुम 1 लाख तक का परचेज करोगे तो मैं 10% दूंगा. अगर 2 लाख तक का करोगे तो मैं 20% दूंगा. 3 लाख का करोगे तो मैं 30% दूंगा. So that will be decided over a period of time. But it is agreed today itself. So it is deductible if it is linked to the invoice. मतलब जब मैं उसके लिए डिस्काउंट दूंगा, then it has to be linked with each invoice. कि आज तुमने 5 लाख का सेल किया है. Now credit note is issued for discounts, right? Debit note for increase in price, credit note in reduction, return or reduction in price. जब मैं credit note दूंगा, that credit note has to be linked to the invoice. If it is linked to the invoice, then it is permitted. And second condition is when I sold and gave you the invoice, you have taken the full credit, correct? जब मैं इसको reduction करूंगा through a credit note, तब आपको ITC reverse करना पड़ेगा. मतलब ITC आपका कैसे रिवर्स होगा? When I sold you the goods for 1 lakh rupees, you have taken credit of 18% हो गया, तो 18,000 credit you have taken. Now I'm reducing the price through discount. Say 10,000 का discount I've given through a credit note. So when I give 10,000 discount on that tax is 1,800. So 1,800 you have to reverse. If you reverse, then it is deductible. Fine. So when I give any discount after the supply is made, but I should enter into agreement saying that I will give you a discount later on. Before the time of supply, if it is agreed, then it is permitted. Then two conditions, it should be linked to the invoice. Okay, it can be linked to the invoice and ITC is reversed by the recipient. Then that is also permitted as a reduction in value. Then third instance could be any discount is given after supply, but it is not agreed before the supply, then it is not deductible. क्योंकि मैंने ऐसे रैंडमली दे दिया, ठीक है तुम अच्छे सेल्स कर रहे हो तो मैं डिस्काउंट देता हूं, लेकिन जब हमने सेल का ट्रांजैक्शन किया तब ये डिसाइड नहीं हुआ था, राइट? व्हेन इट वाज नॉट डिसाइडेड एट द टाइम ऑफ सेल, देन दिस विल नॉट बी डिडक्टेबल. क्लियर? सर, कैन कस्टम ड्यूटी बी इंक्लूडेड इन ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू? Custom duty, Prabhas, when will you charge customs duty? Customs duty is when you import something, then customs duty is charged, right? So then when you import something, what value you use for customs duty, that value itself is used for IGST also. Because when I import some goods, IGST will be charged. We are clear on this. When I import, IGST will be charged on the same value on which customs duty is charged. So if value is 1 lakh, customs duty will be charged on 1 lakh. GST at 18%, if that rate is 18%, it will be charged on 1 lakh value itself. This money includes commercial paper? No, money does not include commercial papers. Shipping charges borne by the recipient, but supplier was liable to pay that. Is it a right example to point to? Shipping charges is borne by the recipient, but supplier was liable to pay. Yeah, then it is liable. But no. Shipping charges, if supplier was liable to pay and recipient is paid, then it will be included. Correct. That is a good example. Clear on this transaction value with examples? Any doubts here? Okay. So we understood what is the value of taxable supply in case of a transaction value is there, that is when with unrelated person. Now transaction value under section 15.1 explain better. Transaction between two persons which are not related to each other and price is the sole consideration, then value of supply is transaction value. What is transaction value? The price actually paid or payable is the transaction value. Clear? Again value में क्या क्या inclusion है अभी. Now in transaction value what all is included? Price, what all is included? All of this in blue is what is included and all of this in red is exclusion. Okay. Other taxes, right? Apart from GST, whatever taxes I charge is included. Payment to third parties on behalf of the supplier is included. Incidental expenses could be like commission, packaging, any alteration or testing, saying that you supply goods to me, but you do the testing only, then I will buy it. So testing charges before delivery of the goods, whatever is given is all incidental expenses, right? Then interest, late fees and penalties also part of the valuation, and price linked subsidy is also included, but only exclusion is price linked subsidy given by central government or state government. Okay, any other person gives the price link subsidy is to be included only. Then pre-sale discounts or post-sale invoice link discounts are excluded. So only discounts are excluded provided the recipient reverses the ITC. Okay, reverses the ITC only in this case because pre-sale discount तो वैसे भी वो ITC नहीं ले रहा है. Only on post-sale discount, invoice should be invoice link and recipient should reverse the ITC. Okay. So when the debit note, when there is a increase in price, then you give a debit note. Say when I had to sold it, I sold it at 1 lakh rupees, but I had to give him actually 1,10,000, then I will give him a debit note. But discount ke liye I will give a credit note. Okay. So when we provide software, we had already paid GST on it. When it is included in transaction value, then GST would be charged on gross amount. Whether we can claim deduction under section 15.3? No, Raghavan. When I buy a software, I will treat it as my purchase. Then I can claim input tax credit of it. Now, when we provide this software to my supplier, I will not show it as a sale transaction, right? Because I'm just giving it to him. So he will have to include it and give me. So I don't have to reduce it from the deduction under 15.3, but it should be included in the value. Okay. $15.3 में क्या deductions I can claim? 15.3 में I can claim deductions of discount, but this is not a discount, so I cannot reduce it from a transaction value. Clear, Raghavan? Now, what all has to be included is explained through a circular. There are various circulars which says what is to be included. First, we said any taxes, duties, cess, fees and charges levied under any law for the time being in force other than this act, which means other than CGST, SGST, IGST and cess, any other duty what has been levied has to be included. Now, there are some transactions wherein if I sell something, like one example is scrap sales. When we do a scrap sale, okay, apart from GST, we also have to collect something called as a TCS, not TDS, TCS, tax collected. Tax deduction is when I sell something and my purchaser deducts it, but in a case of scrap sales or some other goods are there under income tax, when I do any transaction of that sort, then a TCS needs to be collected. So I will sell the goods, I will sell the scrap, okay, I will get the money, I will raise an invoice for the scrap plus GST plus TCS. Now this TCS is what income tax, what we said, any other taxes has to be included. So should this TCS be included was a question which came up. Then they clarified saying that TCS under income tax is not includable as it is an interim levy not having the character of a tax. So it is a not having the character of a tax, unlike a income tax. It is guided under Income Tax Act itself, but this is a kind of advance collection of the tax which will be paid on the income later on. So this TCS should not be included. Okay, so you might get a question wherein you get, say, selling a scrap and TCS is charged at some percentage. Will you include this TCS in the transaction value? No, you will not include, because this is not treated as a this TCS. Yeah, this TCS has been clarified through a circular saying that this is an interim levy and not having the character of a tax. Okay. Second thing is any amount that the supplier is liable to pay in relation to such supply, but which has been incurred by the recipient of the supply and not included in the price actually paid or payable, has to be included. Example, cement which is brought by the recipient directly and given to the supplier. So in the construction of building, I enter into a contract. I say the contractor, you do a good construction, but cement, I want to buy a good cement. So you don't buy the cement, I will buy and give it to you. So this cement bought and given to the supplier will be included in the value. Okay. Then any incidental expenses, including commission and packaging, charged by the supplier to the recipient. In this, what all will include? Freight handling charges, inspection or certification charges, installation and testing charges, saying that you supplier says, buyer says that when you supply to me, I want a proper inspection report. I want to know that the quality what you're selling to me is correct. So whenever you supply to me, get this inspection done and get it certified. So then certificate charges and inspection charges is there. Then I say that you're by selling a specific good special machinery. So you have to do the installation also. So installation charges will also part form of the transaction value. Then weighment charges, loading charges, designing charges, etc. also has to be included. When the customer or any transaction, they're saying that there has to be a weighment. Then weighment charges also, if it is charged, then it has to be included in the transaction value. What is the relevance of this inclusion in transaction value? It means that the price what I'm charging is not only this price, and all these incidental charges are also part of the transaction value. So it will be part of the transaction value, and same GST rate will apply what is there on the main product. Okay. So what if recipient is unregistered? How will we reverse the ITC? So if recipient is unregistered, then he will not reverse the ITC. The seller will reverse the ITC. So it is still possible. Basically, reversal of ITC is a condition when he is registered. If he's not registered, he will not reverse the ITC. But seller, whenever he raises a credit note in his GST returns, he will reduce that much of tax. Right? But recipient, if he's unregistered, he's not claiming the ITC itself. So reversal question does not arise. Okay, then what else is included? Interest or late fees or penalty for delayed payment for any consideration on supply. The time of supply is on actual basis, but such charges are in addition to the value of supply. Hence, same rate of tax of the principal supply is applicable, that we have seen in various instances, right? Then subsidies directly linked to the prices to be included. What is this? Blanket subsidies are not included, saying that I'll give you subsidy of 50,000 rupees and it is not linked to the price. Then such subsidies are not to be included. But I say that you are selling these books, no? This books you sell, generally you're saying at 15 rupees, but now you sell at 10 rupees, 5 rupees I will give you for each book it is sold. So that is a price linked subsidy. Such price linked subsidy is to be included. Now, if this price linked subsidy is given by the NGO or any private person, then it is to be included. But if this subsidy is given by the central government or state government, then it is not to be included. Okay. Kindly put a light on the meaning of weighment charges. I sell goods in a lorry. Now lorry में जो भी goods मैं बेचता हूँ, how do you weigh it? अंदर इतना बड़ा तराजू नहीं रख सकते हैं, करेक्ट? तो क्या करेंगे, फर्स्ट लॉरी जो है उसको वेइंग मशीन में भेजेंगे ताकि लॉरी का वेट आ जाए. लॉरी का वेट आ गया 200 केजीज, खाली लॉरी का वेट आ गया. अब उसके ऊपर गुड्स लोड करो. गुड्स लोड किया. अब गुड्स कितना लोड किया, मेरे पास है वेइंग, लेकिन सामने वाले पार्टी को भरोसा नहीं है और ही वांट्स टू नो कि मैंने कितना लोड किया. तो वेइंग मशीन का जो रिसिप्ट है उसमें दिख जाएगा. फर्स्ट वो वे करके आएगा 200 केजी, गुड्स डालता हूं अंदर, ठीक है, मैं बोलता हूँ 500 केजी, लेकिन जब वेइंग मशीन जाके आता है तब लॉरी विथ द गुड्स है तो उसका हो जाता है 745 केजीज. तो 745 केजीज आफ्टर लोडिंग एंड 200 केजीज बिफोर लोडिंग. तो 745 माइनस 200 545 केजीज. सो ये जो वेइंग का चार्जेस है, मैं बोलूंगा भाई साहब आप मुझे बोल रहे हो इसलिए मैं वेइ कर रहा हूँ, वरना मैं कितना लोड कर रहा हूँ मुझे पता है. तो कस्टमर के रिक्वेस्ट के बेसिस पे मैं जो भी वेइंग चार्जेस करता हूँ, तो ये वेइंग चार्जेस की मशीन जो है वो बड़ी मशीन रहती है, मतलब इट्स लाइक अ प्लेटफॉर्म, उसके ऊपर लॉरी खड़ा हो जाता है और वेट पता चल जाता है. सो उसके लिए वेइंग जो कंपनी है, वेइंग के लिए जो एजेंसीज है वो चार्ज करेंगे मुझे. मैं बोलूंगा ये चार्जेस मैं बेयर नहीं करूंगा, आपको बेयर करना है. तो दिस एडिशनल चार्जेस इज ऑल्सो इंक्लूडेड इन योर ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. ठीक है. IT is dharam katha. What is this, Somesh? Income tax is dharam katha. ठीक है. So these are the inclusions in the transaction value. Now exclusions क्या होगा? Discounts given before or at the time of supply is excluded. Discounts given before or at the time of supply if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice issued in respect of such supply. मैं डिस्काउंट दे रहा हूं और उसको कहां पे रिकॉर्ड करता हूं, इनवॉइस पे. देन डिस्काउंट इज परमिटेबल. दिस इज डिस्काउंट फॉर स्पॉट पेमेंट और डिस्काउंट ऑन लिस्ट प्राइस टू डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स. कि आप अगर मेरे स्पॉट पेमेंट करोगे तो मैं डिस्काउंट दूंगा. Then this is permitted as exclusion. Then discount on list price to distributor, saying that ये तो retail price हो गया, distributor के लिए मैं अलग price देता हूँ, same price लगा के discount लगाऊंगा. So these discounts invoice में reflect हो जाते हैं. So this is excluded. Then discounts given after supply has been affected will be considered as a deduction only if such discount is established in terms of an agreement entered into or at or before the time of such supply and specifically linked to the relevant invoices. कि मैं डिस्काउंट पहले अग्री कर चुका हूं to an agreement. Now it could be हर चीज के लिए अग्रीमेंट रहेगा क्या? ओरल अग्रीमेंट इज ऑल्सो ट्रीटेड एज एन अग्रीमेंट. तो ओरल अग्रीमेंट की जब हम लोग डिसाइड कर चुके हैं कि आपको डिस्काउंट बाद में मिलेगा और ये डिस्काउंट हर इनवॉइस के साथ लिंक होना पड़ेगा, then it is permitted. Or input tax credit attributable to the discount on the basis of the document issued by the supplier has been reversed by the recipient. So recipient को input tax credit reverse करना पड़ेगा. और अगर somebody was asking the question on unregistered person, अगर unregistered है तो क्या हुआ? जब वो unregistered है तो वो डिस्काउंट इनपुट क्रेडिट लिया ही नहीं है, तो फिर डिस्काउंट की रिवर्सल की बात ही नहीं होगी. करेक्ट. How will he reverse? He's not taken the credit, so reversal है ही नहीं. So that this condition will not apply to him. Still, I can reduce it because I will reduce it from my transaction value. ठीक है. So again, to understand this discount, see this slide which will help you. Discount given at the time of supply and it is shown in the invoice. Yes, if this is shown, discount is not included in the value of supply. मतलब आपको discount value में include नहीं करना, discount is permitted. Then if it is at before the supply, अभी ठीक है सर? Okay. So discount given at the time of supply and it is shown in the invoice. It could be two types of at the time of supply or before the supply. Then it is shown in the invoice. Is it permitted? Yes. If it is shown in the invoice, then it is permitted. If it is not shown in the invoice, discount is included in the value of supply. मतलब discount का deduction नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है? If you don't show it in the invoice. Take an instance that I've raised an invoice of 10,000 rupees और मैं discount दे देता हूँ 500 रुपए का और उसको मैंने इनवॉइस में इंक्लूड नहीं किया है, तो फिर ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू क्या रहेगा? 10,000 ही रहेगा और 500 का डिडक्शन नहीं मिलेगा. Which means discount is included in the value of supply. मतलब 10,000 ही रहेगा, 9,500 नहीं रहेगा. Even though I may get money from him for 9,500, ये 500 वैल्यू में इंक्लूड हो गया. That is the meaning of discount is included in the value of supply. Then after the supply, in terms, इसके लिए तीन कंडीशन हो जाएंगे. In terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and it can be linked to the invoice and proportionate ITC is received by the recipient. ये तीन कंडीशन अगर satisfied है, then discount is not included in the value. अगर तीनों में एक भी कंडीशन नहीं है, then discount will be not be reduced. ठीक है? Okay. Payment is known as dharam kata in Marathi. Okay. So what is blanket subsidies? That you give a subsidy. Subsidy could be two types. Subsidy is linked to the price and subsidy is not linked to the price. कि आप प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हो, अच्छी तरह से कर रहे हो, आपकी इंडस्ट्री को मैं बढ़ावा देता हूं, तो मैं आपको एक ब्लैंकेट अमाउंट, एक अमाउंट सब्सिडी देता हूं. इसको आप कैसे भी यूज कीजिए, चलेगा. आप प्राइस रिड्यूस कीजिए या आपका प्रोडक्शन कॉस्ट रिड्यूस कीजिए या सैलरीज दीजिए, कुछ भी करो चलेगा. उसका मतलब है ये ब्लैंकेट सब्सिडी है. ठीक है? लेकिन एक और सब्सिडी होती है कि जो आप सेल करोगे, आपकी सेल क्वांटिटी के बेसिस पे मैं आपको सब्सिडी दूंगा कि आपने कितने प्रोडक्ट सेल किए हैं, वो प्राइस के हिसाब से मैं दूंगा आपको. आप अगर 100 प्रोडक्ट सेल करते हो तो मैं 50 प्रोडक्ट के लिए आपको सब्सिडी दूंगा, तो और आपके प्राइस को आपको घटाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है? तो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ प्राइस लिंक्ड सब्सिडी. द प्राइस लिंक्ड सब्सिडी इज ओनली परमिटेड एज अ डिडक्शन इफ इट इज गिवन बाय सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट. अदरवाइज उसको इंक्लूड करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि मैं नॉर्मली 25 रुपए पे बेचता हूँ. अब सामने वाले ने मुझे 5 रुपए दे दिया तो मैं 20 रुपए बेच रहा हूँ. गवर्नमेंट को तो 25 रुपए पे आने चाहिए थे. तो 20 + 5 इज द ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. बट अगर वो ब्लैंकेट सब्सिडी देता है तो मेरा प्राइस इन्फ्लुएंस है या नहीं है पता नहीं चलेगा. दैट्स व्हाई अ ब्लैंकेट सब्सिडी गिवन बाय एनी प्राइवेट एंटिटी और एनीबॉडी इज नॉट टू बी इंक्लूडेड इन द ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू. ठीक है? इफ इट इज subsidy linked to the price, only then it has to be included in the transaction value. Clear? Now, allowability of certain specific discounts. What are all allowability of discounts we'll get on this, because there are staggered discount, year-end discount, secondary discount. We'll understand this. But if you have any questions till now, please be clear on this. Okay, so we'll understand what is staggered discounts and year-end discounts and secondary discounts, wherein a staggered discount means the rate of discount increases with increase in purchase volume. Okay, wherein I gave you an example. If you buy buy goods for 1 lakh rupees, 10%. If you buy goods worth 2 lakhs, 20,000. If you buy goods worth 3 lakhs, 30,000. So it increases. So this is called as a staggered discount. Such discounts are excluded to determine the value of supply. मतलब इस discounts को आप sale transaction में reduce करोगे. Are excluded मतलब discounts को आप reduce करोगे. ठीक है? Then year-end or volume discount which are offered by supplier to their stockist, saying that this is year end, buy more goods, or you buy more goods, you will get more discount. These are offered by supplier to the stockist, and such discounts are passed by the supplier through credit note. Such discounts are also excluded to determine the value of supply, but satisfy 15(3) conditions, which is what that it should be agreed before, and yes, this credit note should be linked to the invoices, and ITC should be reversed by the recipient. Then year-end discount or volume discounts are also excluded from transaction value. Then there are secondary discounts. So staggered discounts and year-end discounts पे आपको GST discount का benefit मिलेगा, आपको valuation में reduce करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. Then there are secondary discounts, which means discounts are not known at the time of supply or are offered after the supply is already over. ठीक है. Then I don't know, it's a secondary discount कि मन आया तो दे दिया, नहीं आया तो नहीं दिया, पहले agree नहीं हो रहे हो, you are not clear on what percentage you will give the discount, then it is not included. Such discount shall not be excluded while determining the value of supply, and commercial credit note is issued. मतलब very important on commercial credit note. What is a commercial credit note? That I will get less money, but GST benefit I will not get. Suppose I make a sale invoice of 1 lakh rupees, right? Now I am not decided at this point of time how much discount I will give you, and neither I've included in the invoice कि 1 लाख पे बेच दिया, बाद में डिस्काउंट होगा तो देंगे. तो बाद में मैं डिस्काउंट दे रहा हूँ कस्टमर को कि भाई तू मेरे को पेमेंट नहीं दे रहा है, मैं तुमको डिस्काउंट दूंगा, तो मुझे 90,000 पे कर. Now this 10,000 was not agreed at the time of supply. बस मेरे को उसे पैसे चाहिए, so I'm giving him a discount. So this 10,000 discount के ऊपर मैं GST reduce नहीं करूंगा. ओके. और सामने वाले को भी पूरा 1 लाख का क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा, बट ये 10,000 उसको डिस्काउंट तो मेरे को देना है बिकॉज पेमेंट आना है. तो दिस 10,000 क्रेडिट इज नॉट अ GST डिस्काउंट, इट्स अ कमर्शियल डिस्काउंट. तो इसके लिए मैं कमर्शियल क्रेडिट नोट दूंगा, saying that I give you a credit note of 10,000, you pay me 90,000 itself. ठीक है. तो दिस 10,000 के ऊपर GST का बेनिफिट उसको नहीं मिलेगा, मुझे नहीं मिलेगा, बिकॉज आई हैव टू पे GST ऑन द फुल 1 लाख. मैं फुल 1 लाख पे GST पे कर रहा हूँ, वो फुल 1 लाख पे क्रेडिट लेगा. Now this 10,000 is a commercial transaction की पेमेंट को मेरे को कम करो. Okay, so this 10,000 I will issue a commercial credit note not to be part of the discount under GST. तो मेरा transaction value full 1 लाख ही रहेगा और GST भी मैं full 1 लाख पे पे करूंगा. Clear? The staggered discount, a cash discount, as it is to be deducted from value of supply. Staggered discount is not cash discount. Cash discount is for prompt payment. But staggered discount is kind of, I give a discount on periodic payments, periodic supplies. Okay, so staggered discount is different from cash discount. After supply, can we give discount? Yes, you can give. If you agree that at the time of supply that I will give a discount based on various factors, then it can be given after the supply also. Not necessary that discount should be given at the time of supply itself. It can be given after supply also. Any more doubts on this point? All of this has been clarified through a circular. So I've reproduced the circular in a different format. Sir, so on secondary discount, ITC is not reversed. Secondary discount, ITC is not reversed. Correct. Good, Rafiq bhai, all clear. Okay, we'll take a break of 10 minutes and we'll come back by 7:30. In the meantime, if you have any doubts, you can keep uploading it. I will answer once we are back from the break. Yes, sir. Okay. So in the break, I just got one question on who is a stockist. Stockist means a person who keeps the stock on behalf of the supplier. Like a distributor, a stockist is one who keeps the stocks and distributes on behalf of the manufacturer or the main supplier. Okay, he's a stockist. So we understood staggered discount, year-end discount, okay, offered by the supplier to the stockist means who will keep the stock of the goods and sell it to retailers and others. Okay, so staggered discount, year-end discount, and secondary discount. We are clear on this. Now, transaction value 15.4 says what? Where the value of the supply of goods or services cannot be determined under subsection 1, then the same shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed, which means where the value of supply is not based on the, not between a related parties, and where the price is not the sole consideration, then it shall be determined in such manner as may be described, which means if you're not selling on arm's length basis, or if you're selling on arm's length I use a word because price is the sole consideration. When you say, it means it is at arm's length. Arm's length means when I sell to unrelated persons, what is the price? That is the price which I use. So when price is the sole consideration and it is not, if price is the sole consideration, but it is with the related persons. So even if it's a related person, I do at a nominal price, at the market price itself, still I cannot go with the transaction value because उसमें थोड़ा बहुत तो doubt रहता ही है कि आप तो price ठीक ही लगा रहे हो, लेकिन आपको transaction value हम करने नहीं देंगे, आपको valuation rules में जाना पड़ेगा. और मैं price sole consideration नहीं रखता हूँ, unrelated party के साथ deal करता हूँ, लेकिन कुछ और involved है, तब भी मैं transaction value नहीं use कर सकता हूँ, तब मेरे को valuation rules में जाना पड़ेगा. वैल्यूएशन रूल्स क्या बोलेगा कि आपका जो वैल्यू है, आप जो नॉर्मल कस्टमर्स को बेचते हो वो वैल्यू लगाना चाहिए. सो व्हेन आई सेल टू अ रिलेटेड पर्सन और व्हेन आई सेल टू अ unrelated persons but price is not the sole consideration, then I'll have to go to valuation rules, and valuation rules will tell what is the value what you will sell to someone, that is called as open market value, which means when I sell to an unrelated person where the price is not influenced, what will be the price? That price I will use as the transaction value. Now that is detailed in valuation rules. Luckily at intermediate level, you don't have to get into valuation rules. So you have to just understand when you have to go to the valuation rules, when price is not the sole consideration or when you're dealing with the related parties, then you have to go to valuation rules. Otherwise, if these two conditions are satisfied, then you will use the transaction value. Okay. Then 15.5 says that notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 1 or 4, the value of such supplies as may be notified by the government on the recommendation of the council shall be determined in such manner as may be prescribed, which means government is giving power to the GST authority saying that they can determine when the value of such supplies will be notified. Will be saying that whatever value you sell at, but we will decide that this is the price, this should be the value. Because there could be instances wherein some price rigging happens where the price is being altered to reduce the GST for some specific commodities or from specific industry. There they can tell that I will decide the value and you have to use it. Okay. That will be a fixed value and not the transaction value. So government is having that power to fix up a value for the product and not fix it based on the transaction value. Because if some instances the transaction value is influenced, then they might tell that certain products, like if there are some costly products like gems, and if the industry is undercutting the prices, then the government will say that no, we will not consider the transaction value. We'll go with the value which we will decide and fix up for such description. Clear? Okay. Now, when do we go to valuation rules? This is important when supply is not covered under section 15.1. That is, those two control conditions are not satisfied, which means those two conditions could be, one is price is the sole consideration and it should be sold to unrelated parties. When both these conditions are not satisfied, Then I will go to valuation rules. Our supply is covered under section 1, but the transaction is between related persons, wherein supply is covered under section 1, wherein I'm satisfying the condition, but it is with a related person. Our supply is covered under section 15.1, but mandatory adjustments to transaction value have not made, wherein I've told no, so additions has to be made, those 5 additions has not been made. Then in that case, I will go to valuation rules. So only in these situations, I will go to valuation rules, not otherwise. So this is the topic on valuation, nothing much. Okay. There's only simple topic on valuation. We'll get into MCQs, but before MCQs, any questions till now? Okay, let's get into MCQs. In the process, you will have some questions. We have around 15 MCQs today. Ms. Gomati is a trader who supplied watches to Mr. Deepak for a price of 1,000 each. Wholesale price of the watch is 1,500. Retail price of the watch sold by Ms. Gomati in the ordinary course of business is 2,000. Now, Mr. Gomati and Mr. Deepak are unrelated persons. What is the value of supply? Related persons are same as you read in schedule 1. Yes, Somesh. Related persons are same as you read in schedule 1. This I already gave an example, so you know the answer for this very clearly. I was expecting correct answer from everybody over here, but there are some people who are saying answer is 1B. In the ordinary course of his showing, so you have not paid attention to my class then. If you're saying answer is B, because it is sold in the ordinary course of business, then I think my explanation is not correct, or you have not understood it correctly. Ms. Pal Chotilal, how is it A? What we said, when the transaction is between unrelated parties and price is the sole consideration, the transaction value is what I sell it at. In the ordinary course of business, let him sell at 2,000, but this transaction he sold at 1,000 rupees. So 1,000 rupees is the valuation, not anything else. When he sold at a price of 1,000, ordinary course of business and anything is just to confuse your minds. We know, we have read the section of 15 valuation. When I supply something at a price, which is a transaction value, then that transaction value, the price is the transaction value is the value of supply. So in this case, the correct answer is C, not 2,000 or 1,500. Okay, please be careful. It is C, not B. Read the question properly. Okay, Ms. Tanya, you're saying you have not read the question properly. Please read the question properly, because you will get so very less time. You have to read it quickly and understand it quickly. Okay, so correct answer is C. People who have answered B, please, no problem. Just make sure that in exams you don't make this mistake. It is not 2,000, even if it is sold in the ordinary course of business 2,000, or if the wholesale price is 1,500, it doesn't matter. What you have sold to the customer, it could be less than both of it. Yes, possible. Whatever you have sold, that will be the transaction value. Okay. Next, there are few offers going on Myntra on the occasion of Raksha Bandhan. One of the offer is buy more, save more. The customer will get 50% discount if he purchases for a value more than 10,000, 70% if he purchases for a value more than 30,000, and etc. So what is the discount? What type of this discount is this? Is it periodic discount since it is for a festival? Is it secondary discount? Is it staggered discount, or is it volume discount? To answer, everybody is not answered correctly. If you are saying it is A, periodic discount, since it's given for Diwali, then they've corrected saying it is staggered discount. If you are saying it is volume discount, no, this is not a volume discount. This is a staggered discount because it is not based on volume. It is based on value. It is based on volume, saying that you buy one dress, then it's this. If it is 5 dress, that is that. Then that's the example of volume discount. This is an example of a staggered discount. Okay. So correct answer is C. This is a staggered discount. D is not the correct answer. Answer is C. Mr. Prabhas supplied goods to Ms. Anushka for a consideration of 2 lakh rupees with a credit period of 1 month. 1% interest is to be charged after expiry of 1 month credit period. Now, Ms. Anushka has made the payment of 2 lakhs after expiry of 1 month credit period, along with the interest at the rate of 1%. What is the value of supply? Is it 2 lakhs or 2 lakhs 2,000, or is it just 2,000, or is it 2 lakh 10,000? Raghavan, why is it A? Prabhas Dean, good to see your name in the question. Very nice. Everybody is given the correct answer. Raghavan, why is your answer different? Is there any justification you have? The correct answer is B, because 2 lakhs plus interest for expiry of credit period, that is the transaction value. So value of supply is 2 lakhs, 2,000, not 2 lakhs. Okay, question number 4. Ms. Bhavani sold furniture to Mrs. ABC for a consideration of 1 lakh. She issued an invoice and provided discount of 10,000 without mentioning in the invoice. What is the value of supply? Is it 90,000, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 10,000, or 10,000? Sorry, I think MCQ answer is A. Please give your options with questions. So Sneha Gupta, Ms. Pal Chotilal, you're just giving me option. For which question, please mention the question number as well. Okay. 4, if they earlier don't stipulated in this behalf. This is the question and these are the options. So you'll have to give me the answer and not ask further questions, right? Now this is a discount which is not issued an invoice. She issued an invoice but provided discount without mentioning in the invoice. Then what will happen? If she's not mentioned in the invoice, she cannot give this discount. It is not stipulated before, right? So the value will be 1 lakh only. The correct answer is B. Okay. Not 90,000, because even though discount is given, this will be issued through a commercial credit note only, not through a GST credit note. So the value is 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Mr. A is a trader of school bags. Selling price of the school bag is 300 rupees per bag. Messrs. ABC Trust agreed to pay 150 rupees per bag if he sells school bags to poor children at a price of 150. Okay. Now, Mr. A reported the value of supply is 150 per bag in the GST's return. Is this reporting correct? Yes, because rupees 50 paid by ABC Trust is in the form of subsidy. Subsidy has to be deducted from the value of supply. No, subsidy given by any other person other than CGST should be added to the value of supply. Therefore, value of supply is 300. Yes, any subsidy given by any person is to be deducted. No, subsidy given by ABS Trust is for poor children. Therefore, subsidy should not be added to the value of supply. Yeah, these MCQs get uploaded on the portal with answer. Ram, are this problem of uploading been there? Because I'm still seeing previous sessions things are uploaded and students need the latest, which I'm sending by email to you. Answer is self-explanatory, but still, Miss Maiman Rafiq Bhai, Miss Tanya Patkar, why do you feel it is A? Okay, corrected. Correct answer is B, because subsidy given by any person other than central government or state government has to be added to the value of supply. Therefore, value of supply is 300 itself. So see the case where I was generally selling at 300, now I'm selling at 150. I cannot charge GST on 150. I have to charge GST on 300 itself. Now, these are questions which we have discussed based on some case laws. Now we'll discuss the theoretical things so that we understand the theory also in depth. Value of supply shall not discount any discount which is given, which one? Before the time of supply, if such discount has already been recorded in the invoice, or at the time of supply, if such discount has already been recorded in the invoice issued, or both A and B, or none of the above. Yesterday's slide also will be get uploaded. I will make sure that I talk to the concerned person and all the slides get uploaded properly. Yeah. Yeah, Ms. Amritpal, your answer is correct. 5B. Now answer these questions. Question number 1 again. Too much of confusion in question number 1. Most of you are seeing it is D, none of the above. Value of supply shall not include discount given before the time of supply if such discount. Understand the question properly. Value of supply shall not include any discount which is given before the time of supply if such discount has been already recorded in the invoice or issued at the time of supply. If discount is given at the time of supply, if such discount has been duly recorded in the invoice in respect of supply. So is it both A and B or both are not there? Most of you are getting confused. You're saying option is D, but the correct answer is C because value of supply shall not include both, which is discount given before the time of supply or at the time of supply. And it is duly recorded in the invoice, so it will not be included in the value of supply. So the correct answer is C. What is the confusion here? People who have given answer D, please let me know why do you feel so? Why is it none of the above? It is both A and B. Okay, never mind. So the answer is C because understand value of supply shall not include those discount before or at the time of issue of invoice and it is recorded in the invoice. So it will not be considered as the value of supply. So it will be reduced from the value of supply. Okay. Next, in which circumstances subsection 4 and 5 of section 15 read with chapter 4 determination of value of supply rules apply. So when will you go to the valuation rules basically where supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration. Supply is made for part monetary consideration and part non-monetary consideration. Supply are made to related persons or all the above. Basically, when will you go to valuation rules? Okay, understood, Ayush? So, not what is allowable? No, it says what is not allowable. Correct. So this type of Prabhas Jain, be careful. Such type of questions will come where it will confuse you and you will lose the marks. Be careful, read the question and attempt it correctly. Inclusion means exclusion from value of supply. Inclusion means exclusion from value of supply. No, sir. Value of supply shall not include any discount. Means it should not be part of the value. Exclusion from value of supply. Correct. Value of supply shall not include. It says not include. So please be careful, Mr. Somesh. It says not include any discount. Means exclusion. Okay. Clarify question once, it was confusing. Ms. Kiran, I'll repeat the question again on question one. Value of supply shall not include any discount which is given before what? So what is the value of supply shall not include? It shall not include the following discounts. The discount which is given at the time of supply and before the time of supply, it shall not include. That is what this question is saying. So both of this will not be included in the value of supply, right? Because the condition is should be recorded in the invoice. Now this is recorded in the invoice and it is issued before the time of supply or at the time of supply. So answer is C, because both of this shall not include the value of supply. Clear? Question number 2. Most of you are giving correct answers, but some people are giving wrong answers again here. They're just saying that supplies made to related persons, we have to go to valuation rules. But no, you have to go to the valuation rules when you make the supply for non-monetary consideration. Or when I said, what is the condition? I'll go back to the slides. Please understand this, very, very important. Price actually paid or payable for the supply. That is not related party, and price is the sole consideration. Now your price is not the sole consideration in my question. In my question, question number 2, when supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration, when supply is made solely for non-monetary consideration, then we have to value that. Correct? That's why you'll have to go to valuation rules under 15.4 or 5. So again, 15.4 or 5 slide also I'll show you. Where the value of supply of goods or both cannot be determined under subsection 1. Subsection 1 is price. Now, this is a non-monetary thing, so this is not there. So we'll have to go to valuation rules in that case also. And partly monetary, partly non-monetary, still you will have to go to valuation rules. Okay. So the correct answer for do is D. In all the above situations, you will go to the valuation rules. Question number 3. Persons including legal persons deemed as related persons if a third person controls or holds less than 25% stake, or a third person controls more than 25% stake, or a third person controls more than 50% stake, or a third person controls less than 50% stake. Three, everybody is giving correct answers. The answer is, I will not tell because few more have to answer. Correct, Ms. Kiran. Question number one means that discount is deducted, so it shall not be included in the value of supply because it is already invoiced. So discount is deducted and not included in value of supply. Correct. You are right. Correct answer for question number 3 is B. A third person controls directly or indirectly or owns or holds more than 25% of the voting shares is deemed as a related person. Value of supply includes what? Subsidies provided by central government, subsidies directly linked to the price, blanket subsidies, or both A and C. Are my answer reaching? Yes, Hitesh Jain, I am receiving your answers. There are so many people who are answering correctly. So all your answers are correct. Ms. Janvi, I'll explain 5.69 after this MCQs, definitely. This is again a confusing question. Even though the topic is simple, if you don't concentrate on the topic, this is what will happen, that these questions will confuse you. Fourth one, most of you are saying it is, few of you are saying it is D. Correct answers, let me recognize the people who have given correct answers so that they know that your answers are reaching me. Somesh, Janvi, Madhuri, Raghavan, Rekha, Amrit Pal Kaur, Akash Neel, Ayush Agarwal, Ankur Patel, Madhuri Nikhare, Prabhas Jain, Godomari Sunil Kumar, Prabhas Jain again, Hitesh Jain, Miss Kiran C. Answer, then Vimal Kumar Surolia, Sunil Kumar, Ayush Agarwal, your answer is wrong. All these people have given the correct answer. The answer is B. Value of supply includes subsidies directly linked to the price. Now, who's given this? We have not mentioned. So, any values directly related to price is included in the value of supply, but subsidies given by central government is excluded. Then blanket subsidies are excluded. So, what is included is only B, which is supplies directly linked to the price. Okay. Question number 5. Value of supply is the transaction value when a transaction of supply is of goods value. When a transaction of supply of goods or services is made between unrelated persons, price is a sole consideration. Both A and B, price is made with related persons but adjusted to match with unrelated party transactions. Wherein I've done a transaction unrelated persons, but still I've made a adjustment as would I have done with the unrelated person. Suppose I've made a sale of 1 lakh rupees to my related person. Then if I make a sale to unrelated person, say at 1,50,000, I've sold to my related party at 1 lakh, but I've paid GST on 1,50,000. That is the meaning of D. So will I go with, will my D will be treated as transaction value or will it be ABC? Which one? Ms. Pal Chotilal, blanket subsidy means subsidy which is not linked to the price is called blanket subsidy. 5. Most of you are giving correct answers. The correct answer is C, because value is the transaction value when you make between unrelated person, and price is the sole consideration. So both A and B is correct. C is the correct option. Question number 6. Discounts are excluded from value under section 15.2 when it is given before the time of supply, at the time of supply, recorded in the invoice, and all of the above. Six answer again. Janvi, why is it C? All the conditions has to be satisfied. It should be before the time of supply or at the time of supply. It should be recorded in the invoice. So the correct answer is D. Correct answer is D, wherein all these conditions, if it is satisfied, then it is excluded from value under 15.2 here. Seventh question, which of the following discount offered by the supplier as allowed as reduction in the transaction value? Is it staggered discount? Is it periodic year-end discounts? Is it secondary discounts, or discounts given through commercial credit note? The question is, which of the following discounts are allowed as a reduction? Read the question. This is a very confusing discount, a very confusing question. There's a little twist in this. Let me see if somebody answers this perfectly correctly. Great. Miss Amritpal Kaur, you have answered it correctly. Let's wait for others also to answer it correctly. Not understood this question. Which of the following discounts offered are allowed as a reduction in the transaction value? Which discounts are allowed? We discussed this, right? Staggered discount, or is it periodic or year-end discounts or volume discounts or secondary discounts, or is it discounts given through commercial credit? Which of these discounts are allowed as reduction? Hitesh Jain, how are you answering 8th question now itself? We are still in 7th question, right? You're able to see 7th question only, right? Great. So 2 people have given answer correctly, Miss Amritpal Kaur and Miss Rekha. The correct answer is both A and B, because staggered discount, generally MCQs means one answer, but I've given a twist here. So both A and B are correct. Staggered discount is also permitted, and periodic year-end discounts or volume discounts are also permitted. Of course, that it should be, all of this condition is it should be issued, discussed before itself at the time of supply. Secondary discounts are not allowed, and discounts given through commercial credit note are also not allowed. So correct answer is 7A and B. Eighth one, for the purpose of determination of value of supply under GST, TCS under the provision of income tax is dash in the taxable value of, for the purpose of GST, is includable as it is an interim levy having the character of tax. It is not includable as it is an interim levy not having the character of the tax. No TCS concept under GST, or none of the above. Eighth one, option is B, because it is not includable as it is an interim levy not having the character of tax. Everybody's answered correctly. Very good. Eighth one, the answer is B. Some are saying D. No, it is B. It is not includable because you should not include it as it is an interim levy not having the character of tax. Prabhas Jain are saying 7th one. A is correct because you have written transaction value, not value of supply. All other discounts are provided by issue of credit note, while in A it is given at the time of transaction itself. Correct. So it is following discounts offered by supplier allowed as reduction in the transaction value. I have not said in the invoice, in the transaction value. So it is given later on through a credit note. Still, it is reduced from the transaction value. So that's why it is not. It is, these two are the correct answer. They are allowed as reduction in the transaction value. Both A and B are correct. Yeah. So you don't get any lifeline questions. These are really trivial questions, theoretical questions, but interesting. So no lifelines offered. In which of the following circumstances outward freight and transit insurance will not be included in the value of supply of goods? Supplier agrees to deliver the goods at the buyer's premises and arranges for transport and insurance. The contract for supply becomes a composite supply. Or contract for supply is an ex-factory basis where the buyer pays the outward freight and insurance, neither A nor B, both A and B. The question is, in which of the following circumstances outward freight and transit insurance will not be included in the value of supply of goods? Prabhas Jain, first person to answer and correct answer. Very good. But don't answer so fast also. You have to read the question. Shouldn't slip by mistake and you answer wrong in the exam. The question, read again wrong questions because of incorrect reading. I think these MCQs, the last 10 MCQs, are specifically designed to teach you that you should read the question properly. In all of these questions, people are making mistake because they are not reading it properly. In which of the following circumstances freight and insurance will not be included in the value of supply? Okay, so when I agree that I will deliver the goods at your premises, then freight and transit I have to include. But if I agree that it is an X factory basis, means I will supply to you and the value is at X factory basis, means up to my factory gate, I will supply to you. Anything extra is your cost. So any freight and transit insurance is the recipient's cost. It will not be part of my value of supply. So the correct answer is B, because in case of a contract of supply at X factory basis, the buyer pays for the outward freight and insurance. So it should not be included in my value, because my agreement itself is still that point of time. So I don't have to don't have to use that value for my transaction value. Okay, got the answer now? 9B. Why is it 9B? Because my contract itself is like that. It is not that my obligation which is paid by the recipient. I don't have that obligation itself. So where is the question of recipient paying it on my behalf? Recipient is paying on his behalf itself, not on my behalf. So the correct answer is B. Contract for supply on X factory basis where the buyer pays is not to be included in the transaction value. Okay. 10th question. What are the conditions to be satisfied to allow post-supply discount as deduction from the value of supply? What are the conditions to be satisfied to allow post-supply discounts? Discount is in terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and can be worked out invoice-wise. Proportionate input tax credit is reversed by the recipient, neither A nor B, or is it both A and B? Good. Last question. Everybody's answered it correctly. The correct answer is D. Discount is in terms of an agreement that existed at the time of supply and can be worked out, and proportionate input tax credit is reversed. Then then post-supply discount will be allowed as a discount. Now somebody was asking a question. There is question page 5.69. Black and White Limited has provided the following particulars related to goods. Let me populate that question here. That will be easier. going on. चल रहा है. Sharing the screen. Okay, so this is the question. Black and White Limited has provided the following particulars related to goods sold by it through Color for Private Limited. List price of the goods is 50,000 rupees. Okay. Then tax levied by municipal authority on the sale of such goods is 5,000 rupees. Packing charges not included in the price about 1,000. Black and White Limited received 2,000 as a subsidy from NGO on sale of such goods. The price of 50,000 is after considering such subsidy. And Black and White Limited offers 2% discount on the list price of the goods, which is recorded in the invoice for the goods. Determine the value of taxable supply. Fine. So what will you do? We'll do computation of value of taxable supply. List price of the goods excluding of all taxes and discount is 50,000 rupees, right? Yeah, 50,000 will come here. Then what do we do? List price of the goods is come. Then tax levied by the municipal authorities, how much? 5,000. Any taxes other than GST is to be included. Municipal authority charges something, so that has to be included. Then packing charges, which is not included, that has to be included. Fine. Then subsidy received from a non-government entity. From an NGO, it is received a subsidy of 2,000 rupees. So 2,000 you have to add, right? Since subsidy is received from a non-government entity, you will add it. Clear? Then this is your total value. Then you're giving discount of how much? 2% on the list price. So don't consider 2% of 58,000 of the list price. List price kitna hai? 50,000. On 50,000, you have to take 2%, which is 1,000. So value of taxable supply is 57,000. So be careful at two places. Subsidy you have to add and discount you have to reduce. Discount is known at the time of supply and it is recorded in the invoice. But it should be 2% of 50,000, not 58,000. Clear? Answer of 10 was D. Okay. Now we'll just, we have some 5 to 10 minutes time. If this topic is complete, then we'll just take up statutory updates which just came up. So we'll are very clear on that. Okay. So time and value of supply, we are all clear. Good to know that you are all happy and you have understood this topic so well, and this MCQ are really helpful in that case. Now, there is a statutory update which is released on the Board of Studies portal. So I'll just go through that, which is relevant for your exams and which based on topics which I've discussed. We have already discussed this, but we'll just brush up on that. Okay. Okay. First is under supply. What is the statutory update? Activities or transactions involving supply between any person other than an individual and its members for consideration is included in the scope of supply. So there is an amendment which says that basically any transaction between a association and a person was a transaction of supply. So it is included in the definition of supply. Earlier, it was there under the Schedule 2. Now this has been removed from the schedule and inserted as a new section under Section 7, which is supply provision. Usme they have included a new clause called 7(1)AA. And it is retrospectively from 1st July 2017. Prospectively means if I pass an amendment, it should apply from today. This is passed by Finance Bill 2021. So it should effectively come from today. But they have made a retrospective amendment, means they made it effect of this will be from 1st July 2017. That's the meaning of retrospective amendment, means the effect of this is from the date when I say it is retrospectively amended from. So this provision is retrospectively amended from 1st July 2017. Okay. Then activities, what is there? Activities are transactions by a person other than individual to its members or constitutions or vice versa for cash, deferred payment and other valuable consideration is included in value of supply. What it happens is, earlier there was a case of Calcutta club case, wherein they said that any club providing services to its member is not liable to GST or not liable to service tax, because that was service tax case. And Supreme Court also confirmed that any transaction between a association to its members is not liable to service tax. So that should not have an impact on the GST. Then GST also people, clubs will not pay. That's why they made this retrospective amendment, and they said any transaction between a club to its members is liable to GST. Okay. Next provision. So Calcutta Club case is given a reference here. Then charge of GST. Earlier, composition supply was restricted only to these categories: ice cream and edible ice, whether or not containing cocoa, pan masala, all goods of tobacco and manufactured tobacco, and aerated water. Only 4 categories were there which were restricted. Okay. Fine. So only 4 categories were restricted. Now they have expanded the category and included these 4 products also. So 4 plus 4, 8 categories. What are these 4 categories? Fly ash bricks or fly ash aggregate with 90% or more fly ash content, fly ash blocks. Matlab, for construction of building, they use fly ash bricks, right? Or blocks. On a manufacturer of that, he cannot get into a composition scheme. Okay. Then bricks of fossil meals or similar siliceous earth, building bricks, earthen or roofing tiles. So in real estate industry, blocks, fly ash blocks, building bricks, bricks of fossil meals, or earthen or roofing tiles. These people who are dealing with this, they cannot get into the composition scheme. Okay. A manufacturer of the following goods cannot opt for composition. Only a manufacturer, not a trader. So manufacturer of these goods, 4 category of goods which are there, amendment is happening here. So if you get a question saying that this person is manufacturing fly ash blocks and he wants to go for composition, can he go? You'll say no, he cannot get into composition because it is restricted. Okay. Then exemptions. In exemptions, what is the amendment? We have discussed this pure services. Pure services earlier was provided to a central government, state government, or union territory, or local territory, or a government authority and government entity also was available as exemption. But this is removed now. So pure services provided only to central government, state government, or union territory, or local authority is not liable to GST. But if a pure service is provided to a government authority or government entity, then GST will be applicable. Okay. So very important, any services of a pure services, excluding works contract services provided to a government authority or government entity, will be liable to GST. Then composite supply of goods or services in value of which is more than 25%. This also either pure supply of services or composite supply where more than 25% of the said supply value of supply of goods constitutes less than 25%. So more predominantly services it is there. Then in that case also earlier it was exempted when they provide services to government authority or government entity, that has also been restricted. So any of these services provided to a government authority or government entity will be liable to GST. Fine. Then transportation of passengers with or without belongings, wherein we said that Batman's non-air conditioner things and state carriers other than air conditioner were all exempted. Right. Now, if these services we are booking through an electronic commerce operator, if we are booking through Make My Trip or Go IBBO or something like that, then it will be liable to GST. Because if you are booking it through e-commerce operator, then e-commerce operator by default will pay GST on that. So generally it is exempted. Normally, if I book a ticket for a non-air conditioner contract carriage or a other than a non-air conditioner stage carriage, it will be exempted. But if I book it through an e-commerce operator, some cab book karta hu, I use the service of an e-commerce operator, then it will not be exempted. It will become taxable. Similarly, railways, metro, inland waterways, all of this railways, if I book something through an e-commerce operator, then it will be liable to GST. Fine. Then services provided to central government, state government, union territory administration under training program for which 75% of the expenditure is borne by the central government, for which total expenditure was there. Now, if they bore 75% also, still you will get the exemption. Okay. Then what are the new exemptions which are introduced? Services by way of granting national permit. This we had discussed. Any national permit to goods carriage will be exempted. Like the RTO, what they charge for national permit is exempted. Then services of leasing of assets, that is service of leasing of assets to the Indian Railways is exempted. Then this is what is the main thing on exemptions. Then you have input tax credit chapter onwards. Clear on this amendment? So subsidy received should not be added because it is not specifically for price of goods. It is specific. What is fly ash bricks means? Fly ash मतलब जो grey color का bricks बनता है, that is a fly ash brick. So are there maximum chances of questions coming from amendments? Yeah, very important. So question from amendments will come. Please concentrate on the amendments. I thoroughly enjoyed taking sessions with you and getting to know so many questions, and wherever I made a mistake, I've tried to correct. Apologies for making a mistake and correcting, but don't get confused. Ultimately, your study material is the correct thing, wherein I've corrected on exemptions. Please make sure that you don't make the mistakes. And if there's anything which I have not thought properly, please send the feedbacks or here, or you could ask in the problem solving questions session also. We'll try to resolve your queries and take a good problem solving session so that you can thoroughly understand. In the meantime, I will not be able to teach you the other topics which the other faculty will teach. So during my problem solving session, you have to be thorough with those topics. Only then you can understand the problem solving session, because I'll not be explaining those parts. I'll be explaining the question and answer. Okay, so enjoy your day. Enjoy studying GST. Yes, good. Thank you, Prabhas Jain. You have enjoyed studying GST. Very nice. So your interest to the GST is more important. If you have interest to the GST, then you will be more focused to the topic. Yeah, any more questions? Yes, your doubts. Very nice. If your doubts are cleared. Thank you, Ayush, for blessing and cherishing my efforts. Thank you very much. Just take 2 more minutes to see if there's any more questions. So on non-AC railway ticket, GST is not levied. But if we book same ticket by electronic mode, then GST is levied. No, not by electronic mode, by electronic commerce operator. If you book railway ticket on AC ticket, when you go to the counter, GST will be charged, but it is not shown to you separately in the ticket. That's why you don't know. But if you book it online on IRCT portal, still they will charge GST. Okay. Still they will not charge GST for a non-AC ticket. Okay, they will not charge GST. Only on what I've seen is they will levy something called as convenience charge. That convenience charge is hardly 10 rupees. On that, GST will be coming up. But on the ticket value, GST will not be charged. But if you take AC ticket, on the AC ticket value itself, GST is charged. But what I'm trying to say here is a non-AC ticket, if you buy through an electronic commerce operator, then they will charge GST on that. Great. You have a very beautiful lecture. Anu Gupta, you made GST less boring. GST is not a boring according to me. GST is a very interesting subject, and thank you for your compliments, Ms. Anu. I feel happy in GST class due to your efforts, sir. Goodbye and good night, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Sushil Kumar, Pooja, Anu, Somesh, Ms. Meman, Rafiq Bhai, Sunil, Ayush, Prabhas. Thank you, everyone. Thank you specifically, and thank you, everyone. Yes, sir. Concluded.